In today's video, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk about how everyone, and I do mean every single person on this planet, pretty much has either fallen victim to a scam or is being scammed as we speak. Because think about how so many of us have to work jobs, and then we may start out working those jobs on behalf of being put on a 90-day probationary period, can't qualify for any kind of benefits, whether it may be either health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, PTO time, whether it be on, where it may be on behalf of either annual leave or sick leave, until we may reach that 90-day probationary period. Especially you may get hired on through a temp service, and they may happen whichever company you may be sent to work at or job site on behalf of the temp service, and they may happen to like your, first and foremost, your attitude along with your work ethic. Then they'll usually keep you past the temporary time frame, which is usually between 60 to 90 days. Therefore, that's when you could use to qualify for benefits and get hired on through the company and earn extra pay. But anyways, some of us have worked jobs for X amount of years, and tell me if this is not a perfect example of a skill. Well, not skill, excuse me, scam. Forgive me. But we may have been working, some of us on our job for around 10 years, and may have been planning on retirement once we were to reach our 10-year anniversary. Soon as we may have started that job, before we knew it, fast forward 10 years rolled around our 10-year anniversary just like that. Only to still have to do the inflation and the economy, inflation costs and economy, still have to be on that job until this day. Once again, some of us have reached our 10-year anniversaries, believe it or not, on whichever jobs we may be working on, may have reached that time frame to work that job on, only to plan on retiring once we may have reached our 10-year anniversary, and something to come up, whether it may be on behalf of having to put our automobile in a shop due to a major automobile repair right during the exact time we may have planned on retiring, or if not that, having to take care of a kid, that because some of us do, or quite a bit of us do have kids, only to continue to have to keep on working to provide for a kid, in some cases a kid who may be old enough, or kids in some instances who may be old enough to take care of themselves and move out, things of that nature. And to me, it's similar to being a hamster on a wheel. You know how a hamster is always going, rolling across a wheel, I guess you call it a hamster wheel, back and forth. They're never making any progress, just going back and forth while the wheel is rotating. Well, if you want to be technical, ladies and gentlemen, the vast majority of us, hi Marcel, thanks for joining. The vast majority of us, y'all, are the hamster on the wheel, judging from a metaphorical standpoint. And you could say in a sense a literal standpoint. Because how many of us are working jobs that we may have wanted to quit working several years ago? Happy birthday to you, Marcel. Marcel, however you say your name. Excuse me if I may have mispronounced it. Anyways, so many of us are working jobs that we hate working, if not due to the people, due to some other issue, and some of us may have intended on quitting those jobs. You're welcome. Only to have to keep on having to make an honest living, having to do the hour debts or bills, having to stay on those jobs until this day. Those same, hi Kinsley World, having to stay on those, and thanks for joining, those same exact jobs for an eternity, might as well say, until we may reach retirement age, which I believe is like 67 years old. If I'm wrong, then put it right down below in the comment section, the actual age to retire. Anyway, the majority of us able-bodied working U.S. citizens are working jobs, and we have to work those jobs for X amount of years. In some cases, even when we may reach retirement age, which is a big example of a scam, because in all aspects, I would say a job is a biggest scam. I would say another scam we have fallen victim to. How many of us, after high school and being smart enough to become enrolled in college, we attended college, whether it may have been either a 2-year college or a 4-year college, may have picked a certain major, either a certain major or trade, and some of us may have had not just a major, but both a major and a minor, graduated at college, and happened to graduate after graduating from that college, once again, whether it may have been either a 2-year college or a 4-year college, may have ended up having to work a job that pertained nothing to what we went to college for, nothing what we got our degree in. Because how many of you know of people who graduated college, who may have went to college for either chemistry or engineering, but may be working for Walmart? How many of us know of people like that? May be working for either corporations by the name of either Walmart or Target. And then I would say another reason, due to how we are currently being scammed, all of us, or have been scammed before. How many of us have been working on a job, and once we were able to qualify for insurance, once again, either health insurance, medical insurance, dental, vision, both, to be honest, health and medical insurance are mainly in the same mainly to the same category. But how many of us may have finally become eligible to qualify for either or, and then along with sick leave or annual leave, only to enroll in either health insurance, once again, dental or vision insurance, in some cases all three types of insurances. And then after signing up for all three types of insurance, scheduling doctor's appointments. And based upon your deductible, if I'm not mistaken, with the more higher your deductible, the less you'll have to use their pay during your doctor's visits, whether it may be on behalf of either a checkup or some kind of procedure you may have to do. Only for your deductible, the amount of your deductible, to eventually run its course, and you still having to come out of pocket, still having to be billed on behalf of that doctor's visit after you may have shown your proof of insurance and your deductible. This is another reason why I say, or one of the main reasons why that is, I say not only is working a job a scam, nothing but a scam, because we already have to contribute so many hours, weeks, months, minutes, seconds, be away from home for X amount of hours, in some cases not 8 hours, usually 10 to 12 hours, being away from our families. And then not only that, but having to also dedicate, once again, so much of our time, minutes, hours, seconds, to a corporation, to the president of a corporation that we'll never be able to meet, having to contribute so many minutes, hours, seconds, months, weeks, days, just to be able to afford to make an honest living, just to have to work for a paycheck. And that one paycheck, thinking that one paycheck, 1 or 2 paychecks, after thinking they'll be able to sustain us for an extremely long period of time, having to work for that same company and getting paycheck after paycheck until you get old enough to retire. And then, to be honest, even more proof of how we have been scammed or are being scammed currently. How many of us are retired now and thought right before we would retire we would be able to get enough in retirement compensation or severance pay just to be able to, just to have to be required to go to work again all over, working for somebody else all over again. I'm telling you, we're being scammed in so many ways to the point where it's not even funny. But then again, at the same time, it is funny because think about how school, and I gave you a perfect example of how school is a scam, because some of us have went to college, contributed so many credits to be able to finally walk across the stage, so many hours, minutes of studying to just so we could be able to walk across a stage and be able to earn our college degree or diploma, only to have to work a whole different, completely different job, I'm trying to say, excuse me, that is pertaining nothing in what we graduated college for. Even if we may have graduated college for top honors or went top honors, I'm trying to say, because I do stumble across my words from time to time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are being scammed or have been scammed in so many ways, because anytime you think of scam of some of us, you can't help but to think, or from time to time, how you may end up exchanging funds with someone on behalf of meeting a person, a total perfect stranger, who may come disguised in a suit. Then once you were to exchange funds after and approach you in a very respectful and nice manner, and as you were talking with him, you may tell him that you have a 9-to-5 job. So if you were to tell him about your 9-to-5 job, he may happen to tell you he knows of a way where you could be able to quit working your 9-to-5. He may promise to walk you through it. You may give him X amount of dollars to start your own business, and you may happen to meet up with him in his so-called office so he could walk you through the steps, so he could be able to allow you to watch different testimonies or testimonials, watch several recordings, allow you to sign several kinds of papers, only to give him the money up front. And after everything sounds pretty good to be true, and never hearing back from him, after also promising to pay you back your money, only to never hear back from him, or to make matters even worse, only to find out who that so-called entrepreneur who approached you. Once you were to look up his bio on some whichever kind of social media platform, he may have a social media platform, you may have found out that he may have done prison time on behalf of different charges. Those are the exact kinds of scams we're falling for anymore. That's called a direct scam. Some people will call it a pyramid scheme. Some people will also call it a Ponzi scheme. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, ladies and gentlemen, but every single person on this planet is falling victim to some kind of scam, if not to on behalf of a direct scam, like I just named, on behalf of a scam as in working a job, which is one of the most biggest scams, along with also having to go to school, which is another college. That's another big scam. I will also say another scam is having to have insurance, automobile insurance, because how many of us also happen to sign up right before we may have driven a vehicle, and I'll let y'all go after this, off a lot from a car lot, and being told we had to be required to enroll in not just insurance, any kind of insurance, not just liability, but full coverage. So after signing up to get that insurance, to become eligible for that insurance, you saw your first bill come in the mail or either get texted to you, because most people, I would say, so most people nowadays prefer to be texted their upcoming bill payments. Anyways, after paying on that bill and after being discussed for your automobile insurance, your deductibles, along with what else that they expect while paying that insurance, all the benefits of having that insurance, where it may be either through Allstate, State Farm, Geico, and after paying on it until the policy was to end, which is usually, I believe, a duration of 6 months, you never ever, and I do mean never, are able to get that money back. That's another example of how a whole lot of us are being scammed as well. Anyways, let me know what y'all think, and also comment by letting me know what y'all think. Not only that, but make sure you like the video, you share it. Last but not least, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm out.